How are you, everybody? Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, September the 2nd. We're already in September. That's crazy. 7:41 p.m. Thank you so much for being live with us. We're about 10 people live right now. Uh, 5 people on YouTube and about 5 people on X. So thank you so much for your support. My name is Luis Carlos Pineda. I'll be your host today. I'm here with John. It's going to be great to talk about a Orlando City win. When the game first started, I thought we were really shaky. At least the first 7 minutes of the match, I thought Nashville got our number, and I was like, "Oh man!" I was like sweating bullets, man, in the press box. But in the end, they turn it around. They look like a very powerful offensive performance by the Lions, by Facundo Torres, El Cuervo or the Crow, the Crow, sorry, the Crow, not the Crow. That's a different word. My apologies, but definitely that DP paying up dividends, waking up, smelling the coffee, knowing that, the Lions are climbing up the ladder in the MLS. And obviously, let's see what comes next against New England and Charlotte. We'll discuss all of that and more. I'm here with John. John, how are you, my friend?
Good, man. Excited to be here on a Monday night to talk about a 3-0 win because last week we had to talk about a 3-0 loss. So it's balanced, right? Everything has balance, Luis. Also, last week we lost to Sporting KC, who are 14th. This week we beat a team that are 14th. So it's, again, just nice that we're back on track. I think a real straight and straight, that's the wrong word, but like we righted the path, right? It looked like maybe we could be veering in the wrong direction with our last performance, and then this performance we immediately said no, we're gonna, like we said, that was just one bad day at the office, and hopefully this is the Orlando City that we saw against Nashville is what we're going to see going forward. And that's my hope, Luis, because if that's the case, then we're gonna be able to do well and climb and get where we need to be, and hopefully go into the playoffs with some momentum.
That's right. There's some comments from the get-go. Thank you so much for everybody that's watching live stream. Jesus says, Jess, Pedro had key saves, but speak on that moment that he tried to dribble past the defender, almost got us scored on. I will dive into that. Joshua Tall, we're only 5 points out of fourth place, 2 points out of fifth, and 1 point out of sixth. The game had weird vibes, says Stream Jesus, but hey, 3-0, I take that any day. Joshua Tall says, great win, 3-0, Nashville, and that was great to see Faco with the brace. Yeah, for sure. I mean, for starts, we're going to dive in to see the highlights and all of that, but Nashville, in my opinion, caught the Lions off guard. They started playing really aggressive from the start. They were forcing Orlando to just kind of go and defend. Shaq Moore and I think Schaffelberg, they posed a threat definitely to Santos. He looked very exposed. And I was, we were talking about that, who are they going to, like who's going to be our left back? Is it going to be Kyle? Is it going to be Santos? Is it going to be Petrasso? Luca wasn't even on the list for this game, so we totally not really got that right. Me and Paola, but definitely, Oscar went for Santos. Well, what were your thoughts in the beginning 15 minutes of the game, John? You were there, I'm sure.
Yeah, the momentum here, I just wanted to show you because what you're talking about, you can see it really clearly here on SofaScore that they opened up really well, and then our 2 goals immediately kind of turned the tables a bit. But they also had some periods again where they got into the game. But overall, I think a much better game for us. The lineup, I think we were talking about Rafa Santos, and he didn't have a bad game in this one at all. But then it was against easier opposition. You know what I mean? Like, I think Sporting KC did a much better job of like pressing us, whereas like the press that Nashville did wasn't really that, I was going to say the word impressive, but that's the press wasn't impressive. That's silly, Luis. But you know what I mean. Like the Nashville, just they weren't as good at doing that. So I think Hoffa had a better time of it. Is he going to be that good all the time? No, I think he's still got potential to make mistakes. I was surprised Petrasso was not involved. He played again for OCB, so maybe it's not looking like he's getting chances. But Hoffa Santos was chosen this time. Apart from that, the lineup pretty much as expected. Everybody in there, Enrique up top. I don't think we're gonna get Duncan to get in with the form that Enrique's in. We still think he's gonna be that starting number 9. So no surprises there really. I think the beginning of the game there was a few surprises for us in the defense, and I was wondering, Luis, I'm sure you were too. Was like, oh no, here we go again. Is this gonna be like Sporting KC? But thankfully we weathered that storm and then managed to get some goals in reply to set us on a good path for this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, the we like when they opened the match, it's just that they put heavy numbers up front, and they were trying to find an early goal. Actually, Oscar mentioned it on post press conference, which you could check out the footage on our YouTube channel. That that kind of took them. It didn't look like the Nashville they watch filmed on. So it kind of took them by surprise, how they were putting numbers forward, which is not them because they usually, according to Oscar, play very conservative. And Nashville had 2 golden opportunities, in my opinion, that it could have been a 2-0. They could have been up 2-0 right there in the first few minutes of the game. Fortunately for the Lions, a Surge shot hit the post, right? And then Pedro Galese with that 1v1 situation against Moyle, right? Which we'll see in the highlights in just a moment. And yeah, after that, I mean, it was just once Orlando scores a goal, they control the possession, they control the chances. It seems like it obviously sparks a lot of positivity. I'm just a little taken aback by, you saw the lineup right there, John. I don't know if you can go back. Um, what do you think about our center back duo, man? Because it kind of in this game, it seemed like Dagger and Rafa were, they had a slow start, but then became really solid. And then, I was surprised I didn't see Brecalo start. I don't know. What are your thoughts regarding that?
I don't know if dropping, Brecalo as a reaction to the last match and whether he thought that he had some issues there. I think what I've learned with Oscar over the years is like even when you make it in the starting lineup, it doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean you're like nailed in now. Like, and as much as we want to see that from David Brecalo, it might just be that Oscar at times says, actually I prefer Rodrigo because I feel like he's giving me something. Like I think Rodrigo has, the capacity to do the wrong thing often as well. So it's hard for us as fans to accept that. But sometimes he has had periods where he's been really solid for us. It just depends which Rodrigo turns up. I was a little bit surprised that he got in for this one. Also, we
Yeah.
got so
Yeah.
many yellow cards in this game,
Yeah.
Luis. I mean,
Well, this
I
referee
think
was crazy.
yeah, I think that's partly the ref, but also I think it's partly a reaction to how, soft we were last game against Sporting KC, and we kind of let them at times, like we were talking about, and then when we reviewed that game, like walk through us where we should have made challenges. Like we even said, like take the yellow here and there. So some of these are like professional fouls, but
Right.
also some of them were just stupid yellows that we shouldn't have got. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it shows that there's determination there, but also, that we were making some errors at the back. So Schlegel was a surprise. I did
Yeah.
think
Me
that
too. I was
Brecalo
like,
was
what?
going to keep his spot. I wouldn't have blamed him for what happened. Like he didn't have a good game, but nobody
Right.
had a good game. So to make him the scapegoat, I don't know if that's what's happening here. Maybe he picked up an injury. We have no idea, right? Oscar might have just said, I prefer Rodrigo against Nashville's attack, right? He might just pick him purely for the opposition and maybe rest. I don't know. Who knows? So and Rodrigo had a decent game. He had some errors at times, but he wasn't like he didn't cost us the game. So
Right.
that's good.
Now, I do want to say that, we were mentioning on the last spot with Paola how, we noticed that Mukhtar, especially on our double pivot, he was going to target one of them to kind of piss him off and to kind of play mind games. And then also pull the Neymar and fall down and roll down the floor. He always does that.
Isn't
And he
that
did it,
literally this first highlight,
bro.
like the first thing that happened?
That's the first thing that happened. It was with Cartagena, and Cartagena.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, they're gonna get him he's gonna get a red card in the next few minutes. Gonna get a red card. I was like, because typically he's not the type of player that will take any S. On especially if he will get in your face. And he's done that for the national team. He's done that in his former clubs. But I really give kudos, even though he got a yellow card. I still feel like he was very composed, and in the end, he didn't kind of fell for the dirty tactics of Hani Mukhtar. So I just thought that was pretty interesting how that occurred exactly to the T. So let's one more comment here. Duncan with the assist. I agree, John. Says Josh Tall. Hopefully this will be the team that we will be seeing forward and winning like this. So there you go. Thank you, Joshua. So let's watch the highlights and see. Thank you to everyone that's listening as well. I want to say after that, man, it's just one. It was Orlando scored one goal, and then their back line, Nashville's back line, just disappeared, dude. It's like it was just Zimmerman. It was just Zimmerman, like looking at them like, yo, what am I doing here? And this is the time that I'm gonna say, Mr. Wilf, it's time. Open up the wallet, tell him, hey, Walker, you can come to sunny Florida, come to Orlando. I mean, he
Keep it
looked at
in the
his
South.
teammates like it's like, yo, you guys are garbage.
I imagine you had Schlegel and Brekalo as backups to
Yeah,
a Zimmerman Jansen back two, or we could play back three or something. I would
correct.
love that. Would be a cool.
That
I
would
think
be a
that's the
massive
kind of
signing.
signing I could see us making inside of the league, which doesn't happen a lot.
Yep.
But if things are that bad at Nashville, which they are, and he would be looking around, and you're like, it's like, hey, stay in the Southeast. We'll get you
Yeah,
close
I
to
mean, and
DP
not only that, I
wages.
mean, he has leadership qualities,
Yeah,
and we
he's
need a voice,
definitely.
man. We need a
Yeah,
voice.
that I agree that if you could bring him in and make him, as much. I think Jansen has not been as strong in the captaincy role as we hoped. I think it's he is good in the back line. He is vocal, but it doesn't seem to spread to the rest of the team for me, right? Like I don't see that. I don't see him shouting at guys on the wing. You
Plus,
know,
I mean, I think he'll fit perfectly here in Central Florida. He'll be, definitely. I mean, he'll be.
we'll see.
Uh, I just think it'll be. I mean, those are the type of signings that are, especially for us, for at least for the Lions that have had trouble, especially with their back line this season. Especially in the beginning of the year. Like, I mean, those are the type of signings that are like, okay, like this, we're gonna compete. You know what I mean? Like, we're not satisfied just by reaching playoffs. Those are
We'll
quality
see.
signings, and I think the fans are yearning for. You know what I mean? The last game was so horrible on him, and I'm so happy that he was able to score and kind of shake that off. John, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Cool thing was his family was there, his wife and his daughter. So that probably meant a million to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he needed a big bounce back. It
Yeah.
was, and I think that situation, like he might have passed it sometimes, or he might just aimlessly hit it at the goal. Like there, he have to have a little bit of composure in that situation just to pick out the goal, and that's what he did. So, great pass by Facu too, just to immediately,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. We're taking advantage of our opposition's errors, like. there was errors that Sporting KC made, and we didn't do, we didn't strike on those. We didn't pounce on those opportunities. Here, it's a clear error by Willis, and we take the chance given.
That's right.
I'd
JC
also love that Willis made that error because I really
don't
he's
like
so
Willis.
oh my. Yeah, I mean there's several reasons, but like yeah, he's one of those keepers just like, oh, this guy,
Wow. Well, definitely not making it to Stoke City. That's all I'm saying.
No, we're good.
JCB's 95 says, Buenas noches, everyone. I was impressed Cartagena didn't get sent off this game. I'm with you, man. The boys played a great game. There you go. In San Pedro, we trust, never lose faith. Stream Jesus Pupo giving Peter Check vibes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Stream Jesus. Jensen is shy, guys. Leave him alone. He's a shy guy. The Stream Jesus.
That's fair. I mean, but also I want my keeper not to be a shy guy. That, you know what I mean? Like I think it's hard. Sorry, keeper, captain. I think it's hard to be a captain and not be like a very outspoken voice. So
Patrick Kleiner says, love seeing Muriel put 2 defenders away from Facu for his second goal. There you go. Thank you so much, Patrick. Appreciate it. Let's roll the tape again. Thank you for everybody listening as well.
I don't mean this harshly, but do we think Angulo would have actually put that in the back of the net if he'd have
No. Probably not.
You can like sugarcoat it a little bit more than just no. I mean, that's what I thought too, but
look, maybe they practice it, maybe they're like, hey, kind of like a basketball screen,
It just looked like it's gonna be another Angulo volley that just went flying over the net or into the ground. I think I love the guy, but I think there is where it's like the technique ability that he has is not where Facu's hitting that running in on his left foot on a bouncing volley that's entirely intentional. Angulo's got time set ready to hit it, and we still have more faith in that situation in Facu. So I think that's where I like Angulo lacks that kind of technical ability. Like Ojeda there probably has a good chance of putting that in. Maybe Enrique, but I struggle in that situation to be like, oh, Angulo's got this.
So Zimmerman is marking Ramiro Enrique. He knows what he's doing. But the 2 that are next to him, Shaq Moore decides to, I don't know. It was just him and the other defender. They just kind of cancel each other out. And he makes a decision to go for, because he's like, oh, he's going to hit the volley. And then here we go. That right there. He didn't see that coming right there. It's like a Karate Kid.
This is an incredible finish. It's entirely intentional.
It's like a Cobra Kai kick, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Santos, that's one thing about Santos, man. I mean, offensively, he could give you his 200%, but defensively, he's just never seen. He struggles getting back into position.
I think he just also struggles ball watching a lot when he should be watching for the man. You know what I mean? Like he's too often. I think he's just not picking up his runner. Also, I think it's tough. Being a fullback is tough. Like you're constantly, you see a lot of errors that fullbacks make. So I don't want to completely grill the guy, but we know he's. I'd say concentration, right? It's one that I worry about with him. Like how much is he always switched on and always paying attention to what's happening in the back line, his positioning, where he should be, where the runners are, etc. Often it's too late a reaction, and then.
Is this guy flipping? Is this guy in the middle flipping off Surge?
Probably.
Go with conviction.
I don't know. He was not. He was just going like this.
He was probably giving him in the,
Ojeda over this free kick. It's another cross. He'll get whipped in with his left foot.
So in this scenario, we're like, yo, 25 minutes, 2-0. Like this is a blueprint of like how good we could be offensively. You know what I mean? Is it the first time we scored 2 goals in less than 25 minutes of play? Probably.
No. Maybe in a while. I feel like we all often have those early chances, like we've talked about before, and then we just don't take them. But this game, we actually took our early chances. So, but they also had early chances, like we've seen that they didn't take. So it was a little bit like, I was feeling confident, but I was also like, well, we've shown that we've got some defensive lapses as well in this 25 minutes of play. So I was worried about Nashville getting one. Like, where are we going to end up in this game? So it was good to see out the half without letting them score, and then we could kind of reset and figure out some of those holes that we might have in the back line.
Phenomenal first half by Martin Ojeda. To me, I think he was he had a complete change of heart compared to last game. I mean, he looked, ready to turn it around, and it showed because Orlando had a almost 55% possession rate compared to 46 from Nashville on the first half. So, okay, let's keep watching.
Getting real pace, and Torres with a header across, and Janssen was there.
That was close. I was like, come on, dude.
Torres with a header across, and Janssen was there.
I know.
Couldn't direct it towards.
Like they're trying to like he's like it's always through Janssen and like Jansen's side. They're trying to hit like it's kind of like opponents feel like Janssen has slowed down through the years. I don't know.
I think it's more to do with our left back situation.
Yeah.
I think Jansen is just on the left side, but I think they're going through that right side of the field because they know Santos is like we talked about. I think a lot of teams do go after him in our back line. Same with Dagger. They'll do it to Dagger. We've seen that other teams do that.
Yeah.
And they go after our fullbacks because they know that our fullbacks go so high up the field. And I think this one, it did seem a little bit more like that. But also, who was on that right side for them? What's his name? Schaffelberg. Yeah, Schaffelberg on that side compared to Muyl on the other side. Like, Muyl's okay. And Mukhtar seems to drift over that way a lot to the right side. So, and Sam Sturridge also, Sturridge likes to drift over that right side. I know from his time playing at Stoke. So it just kind of seemed like a lot of their attack went up that right.
Yeah, and one thing that actually I didn't realize until maybe halftime was like, Schaffelberg play against Peru in Copa America.
Yeah.
So it was like for Cartagena and Gales is a little bit of unfinished business with him, and he had I thought he had a great first half. I thought Schaffelberg he had a great first half. I think he was one of the best. Him and Shaq Moore, that partnership on the right was pretty good.
They've got some decent players in this team.
Yeah,
they just need to figure it out because I don't understand how you have Hani Mukhtar and don't produce anything really. It just seems they got to do something.
Trick, man.
Yeah, dude. All weekend I was on hat trick watch. Facu, I'm on hat trick watch. Well, not for long because he didn't get the second one till late, but. Adriana for the Pride was on hat trick watch for the whole game. So I'm like, when is one of our players gonna get a hat trick? I'm like Paula. I'm starting to.
I'm telling you,
get antsy. I want it.
It's gonna be a photo. He's gonna wake up.
It could be Facu. Facu against New England. There we go. Hat trick.
Or Muriel.
Hat trick watch. Muriel.
I mean, he wakes up like Gohan against Cell.
That would be the greatest hat trick of all time.
He awakens his.
I will
his hidden power.
I will literally eat my hat if that happens.
If that happens, dude, I'm gonna have to play the lotto.
I don't know, but
right. And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna rescue this because when Paul and I were talking, we're like, we feel like Duncan should have started this game because he just signed a contract. You're gonna be playing against Zimmerman, more of a physical player, and so we kind of felt that he was going to be the guy who would start with it. And I was surprised that Oscar was just like, no, I'm just going to stick with my lineup. I'm just going to stick with Ramiro right now. But Duncan came in and he definitely put an assist, and he was really influential when he came in. He's just a little bit on a drought right now. So hopefully against New England, we could see him scoring a couple more goals, John.
Yeah. That would be nice. I think also to say on the subs, David Breckel obviously came in the 46th minute for Rodrigo. So probably because Rodrigo was on a yellow, and I think Oscar was like, "I don't trust you on a yellow for
Yeah.
45 minutes." Like, no lie, I genuinely think that's what happened.
So that shows maybe Rodrigo may be starting next game too.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was an interesting choice to start him, but then clearly it was like to me that's all. Unless Rodrigo picked up a knock or something, to me that says I don't want to play you for another half on a yellow card. And then Nico also came in for Ojeda in the 68th minute, and at the same time, Duncan came in for Enrique. And I thought Nico pretty well when he came on as well. Got in some good positions and was kind of involved in this goal here that we're about to look at that turned out in the the 80-something minute.
Yeah, and like we were saying on the last episode, like Nico's, to me, I felt like Nico he's not an 8. To me, I think when you give Nico to play the 10, just kind of like exactly just replacing Ojeda.
Yeah.
I think he has a little bit more of a bite if you have more of like a transition attacking team that's that you're facing, so he could play defense and offense. But I think in this game he came in as a really good substitution.
What he does is go into the wide spaces, just like we see here in this goal. Like so, if he's doing that from the 10 position, I think it works a lot better than from deep in midfield in the 8, where he needs to be a bit more central. So this is exactly the use of what we should have Nico for. Bring him on. Play him as the 10, let him like have a bit of a free roll up there, see what he can connect and create with the other players. Also, Luis, Kyle Smith had come on for Rafa Santos, and Muriel had come on by this point in the 82nd minute for Angulo. So
now you want to hear something crazy? Facu said that he actually wanted to cross this to Muriel.
No.
Yeah, he said he actually he started laughing.
You can't like give him a sympathy goal, man.
I'm telling you, like,
oh my god,
he wanted to cross. He's like, he actually wanted to cross this, and then
if he'd have crossed it to Muriel and Muriel had missed it, that would have been way worse, though. So
and Oscar in post press conference, he mentioned he's playing like a mid. So he didn't even mention him like he's a striker.
Yeah. I think I have to get over my thing of Muriel not scoring goals. Like,
So
like
from now on,
he's doing something, but it's not. Yeah.
From now on, being September 2nd at 8:18 p.m., we should consider the whole OCSC community Muriel as a mid, not as a striker. Now,
not even like a 10, bro. It's
personally,
like an 8.
Yeah, personally, I think it's because of his maybe his I know I am no one to talk about weight, but I think it's just his his weight. I think so I think maybe once he grinds into the preseason of next year, I think we're gonna see him probably a straight looking Muriel, and then maybe he achieves greatness next season. But I don't know. I think we're gonna be seeing a contributing Muriel more than a striker Muriel, in my opinion, this year. Yeah,
I think on that goal also Duncan, just the intelligence, like he fakes the pass and then he's the perfect pass to Muriel. I mean to Facu to get the goal. So really nice contribution from him there, and yeah.
I mean, look, John. Look, if this was a playoff game and Duncan does this, we would be like static. So I'll take that as, yeah, he did not score a goal, but I mean, he definitely like did something very important to put the team ahead.
It matters, too much to me. I think he's gonna get those. Duncan creates goals for himself sometimes. He's that kind of striker. So as long as I like the fact that he's linking up with guys up front, that's something I'd say that we need to see more in his game, and something Enrique does much better than him, arguably, is the ability to be that kind of false 9 or hold the ball up and link play with guys around you. Duncan often is a kind of more I just want to go forward and drive the ball forward kind of guy.
Stream Jesus says Jensen in his interviews, we can see his English is a bit choppy. Maybe he lacks in that communication. It says is a Stream Jesus says, is this a cooking show? LOL. Come on, guys, be nice to Angulo. JC Beast, love Angulo, but Facu needs to take that every time. As his LOL. Yes, I agree. Hopefully, versus New England, we can see Duncan scoring. I think we took out Rodrigo probably since he was in a yellow card, and Oscar may have not been sure he would get another one. Yep. So it's probably a good assessment right there. And then the game ended 9 minutes at a time. I mean, this ref, in my opinion, he just let the he just, in my opinion, he just let the fouls come in pretty easy. And
Was up.
I like that we got the third goal.
Yeah, me too.
I like that we kept our foot on the gas. Like, we were just all out attack. Like, here's the thing. Nashville are not very good. But last week, really, we lost this 3-0 to a very not good.
Against the Nashville.
Yeah, against the Nashville. So this week we did what we should have done last week. So it's kind of like balance, it's like restoration. It's like a nice healing after the badness that happened before. But has it really, is it a big statement? Not necessarily. You know what I mean? It's just getting business done as should be done at home against a team like Nashville. Now we got to continue in this form and not, you know what I mean? If you look at last week, look at this week, two very different performances. Which Orlando City is going to turn up for the next game? Hopefully the one that just played like this against Nashville.
He pretty much, and I'm going to say it, I'm usually not the type of guy who complains about the refereeing, but Victor Rivas is his name. I have it right here.
No, his name is Rivas. Come on, bro.
Victor Rivas. He's
a Rivas.
He is related to Carlos Rivas. So I'm just kidding now.
It's the uncle's brother's sister of Carlos right now.
Right. He's married with the, no, I'm just kidding. But either way, when he booked Santos, Wilder, Cesar, also, but when was the last time? So when he had a yellow for Nashville, I actually wrote it down here. The 68th minute. So that was the first time he showed the yellow to Nashville. So I just kind of felt that was a little bit, just a little bit of a bad refereeing, in my opinion. I just think it's, I'm glad that despite all of that, and, just calling out, to me, some of them were like exaggerated tackles by some of the Nashville players. The team was able to score 3 goals and get the W, especially at home, because the team, the fans, after the defeat away against Sporting KC, they didn't want to have nothing to do with the team, so and I don't blame them at that point. So so it was a phenomenal win. We got a little bit of we got a little bit of a scare in the first 15 minutes of the game, but in the end, to me, the best player of the game by far, it was, Facundo Torres, obviously with a brace, but to me, Ojeda, especially, in the first half, I think he had some kudos. Who for you, who would you say was maybe your top 2 of this game, or top 3?
I mean, Facu for sure, I think has to be, if you haven't, go vote for him for team of the match day, or whatever. Is it, player of the match day?
Team of the week or something like that for the MLS.
I can never remember what it's called, but yeah, I just voted for him. Player of the match day, I think. So he had a great game, could have been a hat trick. Him, and then I think Ojeda. I think this team is very much needed those 2 guys to click. Like, surprise, surprise, you need our DPs to have a good game for us to have a good game. But I think those guys in the attack, like especially Ojeda, because so much of what happens is created around that 10 position, stretching the play, getting into the half spaces, playing off of him, making spaces for other guys. And he did that again in this game. And we need to see more of that. And also the double pivot, right? They had a good game. Cesar and Wilder, we've always said that we need them to have a really solid game in front of the back four. All the elements were there. These guys know how to play together. They know what they're doing. It's just a case now of replicating that throughout the rest of the season.
That's right. And we have a little bit of an international break, coming up. Pedro Galese and Wilder Cartagena are going to be going with Selección Peruana. They're going to be facing Colombia, and they're going to be facing Ecuador. So they're both going to be going to the altitude. They should be probably heading over there today as we speak to join. Jorge Fossati, coach of Peru. So right now the Lions sit 7th with +1 goal differential, 37 points. Below us is Toronto with 33. So we have a 4-point lead. And then look at the goal differential for Toronto, though. I feel like we can build on that, John. I don't know how you feel about that.
I mean, I think we need to hopefully be chasing the New York teams. Yeah, yes. And Charlotte. So that does matter. Obviously, Charlotte and New York City, we're not that far away. If we get some big wins in, we can chase them on the goal difference as well as on the points, where it's a little bit more difficult to close in on the Red Bulls. I would say if we're, we've got, what is it? The Revs coming up, and then we have another home game after that. So let's focus on getting those 6 points and see where we're at after that. But if we can also build on our goal difference by putting a lot of goals in against the Revs and really up that, then that'll be better against Charlotte and New York if we end up level on points with them in these next kind of few matches. But I just look at this, Luis, and I think about the 3 points that we left. I know I shouldn't. I'm trying to be optimistic after a great win, but
yeah, sure.
There's a certain amount of pessimism here to say, what if we just also got the 3 points that we should have got really away at Sporting KC? We'd be in even better position right now. So
yeah, for sure.
With games like Cincy coming up and tough road games we've talked about the schedule. We'll talk more about it obviously in the coming weeks, but it's not going to be as easy as New England and Charlotte at home, right? These next 2 games, like we did against Nashville, we need to get 6 points out of these, and then see what we look like. Hopefully, build confidence towards that away game at Columbus.
Yeah, I mean, it is every single game for the Lions, especially at home, is a must-win now because we need to move up in the standings, and we need to go back to the form that we've shown last year. I do still feel that we need to open the wallet a little bit more, and for next season, because, if you look at the roster for Cincinnati and Columbus, I mean, we do have some pretty good signings. It's just that they have not panned out the way we wanted to. It is what it is. Next year, another league, but first things first. New England at home with the wall. I mean, they're a problem. They're trying to climb out of the bottom of the league. I think that's a feasible game. I think that's another game that we must win against a team that obviously, I'm not going to downplay on them, but they are in a worse position than us for sure. And then Charlotte, it's always, I think this year has been a pain in our ass. I'm sorry, but it's been a pain to face Charlotte, and I think that one, it is a very important one because of the proximity on the table, and I think if we get 6 points, like you said, I think we can certainly assess that we can maybe go to Columbus and just be like, hey, let's grab the Magic school bus and just park it, and just try to ride it out. And so Columbus isn't like, hoping to kind of whoop ass, like but yeah, I mean the next two games are must win, especially with a wall, and plus, we got to prepare to face tougher competition, and I mean after that it doesn't get any easier, Dallas and Philly, and Cincinnati, these are better teams in my opinion than what we're about to face right now at home. I think to me at least they're better than New England, they're better than Charlotte. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I think it's one game at a time right now. Obviously, we're going to talk more about New England coming up, but it's going to be a case that we just got to keep this rolling, and see out the season in good form, hopefully.
Yep. This says here, yes, Faco could have had a hat trick, hopefully soon, says Joshua Tall. And I thought Faco was going to make that goal that he almost made, says Joshua Tall. So thank you, Joshua, for your comments. Appreciate it. We're about almost 70 people live, so about 63 people. That's amazing. Thank you so much for your support. Anything you want to add regarding this game, John? I know that you had where are they now for some
Oh
players?
yeah, I was just having a little. I saw that Dom Dwyer scored for the Oakland Roots.
Oh,
So
do you have a video?
yeah, I'll bring that up. Hold on.
Yeah, that'd be
It
cool.
just that got me thinking about where Orlando City players, are now
Where
from
are they
our
now?
old USL days, and I think some of them like we know, like we kind of know, but there's like, for example, like here's my tweet I did. There's Dom Dwyer when he played for us in
I remember
USL.
that
Obviously, he
jersey.
played for us at MLS as well, Orlando City,
Yeah,
but more fondly remembered for his USL days where he
yeah.
scored a lot of goals. But here he is, still scoring
On a
goals.
set piece.
Can you
Yeah,
Diaz on a set piece.
for the Oakland Roots.
Diaz header. Dwyer.
There you go.
His first for the Roots, and
Oh,
Oakland
wow.
takes the lead over the top.
I think he's one of those guys got mixed feelings by some fans on Dom Dwyer, but I like, I remember.
Oh no,
I remember the
yeah.
good times that we had with Dom in the team. So that got me thinking about other Orlando City,
Yeah,
players from the USL era, and where are they now? Obviously, Miguel is around, and
yeah.
we know is involved in the club and was on the commentary last night for the
Yeah.
game. And then Rob Valentino, who was a USL center back for years.
Yeah. Dennis Chin, he's
Mainstay of a center back, is currently still temporary manager of Atlanta United. So another one still in around MLS. Dennis Chin, is agent working in the Young Money, and is the agent of Yusara Sagata. So lots of other players. I think Dom Dwyer is one of his players actually. So it's just great to think about the roots that we built so many years ago in this league, and not only in the league but in the US soccer in general, and how many like players, and not only players but like staff members. Like I can name you, I won't because I don't know if they want to be named, but I can name you 10 staff members from the USL days that are still working in the league, in other teams around the league, in other places, working
that'd be cool.
in other soccer teams and other leagues. So I think it's just great to see the Orlando City footprint on the soccer community, and how many, like Seb Hines. I mean, Seb Hines, like there's another one. Like we could talk.
Giles Barnes.
He was MLS, but there's a lot of guys from the USL area that are still making waves out there in the soccer world. Like Anthony Pulis is still doing things. That list is endless. So just cool to think about the as we are, Luis. Remember, we are in our a year of remembrance here, right? We're in
That's right.
a year of celebration, right? Let's not forget we got the old logo, the old / new logo.
That's right.
Honor thy history. And so guys like Dom
Dwyer,
guys like Dom Dwyer and Dennis Chin and all these guys, and Jamie Watson, and there's another name that he's still commentating. He's doing commentary on USL games. He was commentating for MLS for a while. these guys that were in and around that team who really were a big part of what the origins of this club were. It's just great to see them still doing things, and nice to see Dom's found his scoring ways again in USL. That's cool.
No, I mean I think that's fantastic. If we could definitely keep up with them and showcase them, the better.
Yeah, maybe we'll do
I did.
maybe we'll do a series of like little interviews with
Yeah,
ex Orlando City players or staff or something. That could be cool.
yeah, for sure. I have some, I want to give kudos to Austin David. He was at the press box the last game, and he was telling me that the way how to pronounce the new signing's name, Heine. I'm gonna say it, Heine Ginkling Bruset
See,
with a
Heine
T.
Bruset.
Bruset. It's
Heine
not like
Bruset.
Bruset.
No,
We're
it's
like
not Bruset.
it's not
You've been
Bruset.
saying it wrong.
Bruset.
Bruset. Heine Bruset.
Yeah, and then
David
now
Brecalo.
we say Utara Sukata, right? Sukata,
Yeah,
and that's super Americanized. Apparently, is Utaro, and then it's
Sukada.
Skata, no T,
Skada.
Skata.
Shutaro Skada.
Yeah.
You gotta say, but I mean, I know we're saying it should be Barbara Banda. Like we say, Banda is very. It should be Banda, like Barbara Banda, like very.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So maybe we need to have a whole lesson, Luis.
Yeah,
Maybe
we need to get a grammar teacher. Some
yeah, we need to get
We need
phonetic.
class.
We need to get like a little how to pronounce things.
LPO phonics.
Yeah, we'll do LPO player phonics. Yeah. And then there's other players that like I think like there's ones that you think you're easy with, like Ali Lemos, right?
Yeah.
Which I was like, oh, it's Ali Lemos. It was not Ali Lemos at all. It was Ali Lemos.
Yeah,
So
Lemos.
there's just sometimes they trip you up on that. But always want to try and say them right if we can.
And I know this has nothing to do with Orlando City, but this weekend there was this massive thunderstorm yesterday, and we were at the Pride game, and I saw a video that communications actually NWSL put out, Interco Stadium Twitter put out of the freaking what is it called, flooding, whatever,
the drainage,
the drainage of the stadium.
Drainage, yeah,
it was outstanding. That the puddles over there were like mat covered, and like it's like you just unplug the and then like all the water just like completely drained, and then the pitch was beautiful after that. It was crazy.
So little known fact, our field is built over where the old reservoir was. I have no idea if they use some of that in the like drainage of the field, but I do know that we did spend a certain amount of like effort to make sure, because we knew, okay, Florida, when you have these massive amounts of rain, like that can kill your pitch, like
correct,
extremely quickly. So they built in impressive drainage systems.
That's
and that
impressive.
video that video shows you just how quickly and like we were there. It was crazy on Sunday. We'll talk more about it on the Pride Pod, but I'm glad you brought that up, because it does go to show that our field is, I think, really amazing at times, the way that it's kept with all the weather conditions that we have. And just something we should be proud of, I think, is our pitch.
For a soccer specific stadium. To me, it's impressive. Like, and I never seen that before. So to see that video, and I know communications mentioned it to me before. I was like, you need to check out our drainage system. I was like, and then seeing that video, I was like, I'm like, no, but honestly, like, it was impressive. And yeah. I mean, look, media check-in was at 5:30. The game started at 6. No, media last call was at 5:30. Games was supposed to start at 6. There were media that got there 6:30, almost 7 o'clock, because you couldn't walk, man. You couldn't get out of your car. I mean, it was insane, that rain. So either way, we'll discuss that tomorrow, the Pride Pod.
But yes, come join us for the Pride Pod tomorrow if you have not, and please come check that out.
Stream Jesus says, once a jungle boy, always a jungle boy. Says, there you go.
Yep.
Esteban
That's it.
Estrada says, hi, John. How are you?
Hi, Esteban.
There you go. Esteban Estrada says, Orlando City win yesterday. There you go.
See. Vamos,
you go.
Orlando.
There you go. Anyways, John, I want to thank everyone. About 70 people live right now. We'll be back tomorrow for the Pride Pod. Make sure you check us out if you're listening. We're available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as Loud and Proud Orlando. We're also on X as LPO_podcast, on Instagram as LPO_podcast as well, and Facebook as Loud and Proud Orlando, and YouTube as Loud and Proud Orlando as well. So just support, drop us a thumbs up. It says Pilot, haha, says no, I came too late. No, you can rewatch it, so stick around. You can just grab the little dial and just put it back, and then you can just watch the beginning of the video.
Go back.
Yep. So anyways, guys, anything you want to add, John, before we go?
No, I mean, we're gonna see what we do on Thursday for the pod. Obviously, they got no game this weekend.
We're gonna try to see if we can get an interview or something.
International, we'll see what we do, but we'll definitely be back. If not, probably next Monday to talk more about previewing for New England. Yep. And until then, I say I'm excited and ready for the rest of the season, Luis. I can smell playoffs,
Yeah, we got
there,
and I think the fans, what they want is they want us to pass that playoff hurdle, right? Not just get eliminated first round, pass the playoff hurdle, get far. And I think we have the squad to do it. It's just, we just gotta get a little better, a little more gelling. Like almost at the end of the season.
Some late season reapplying of the gel.
More gel. Maybe some extra hold, extra firm.
Yeah.
Maybe 10.
Some extra firm on there that will hold us through the playoffs.
That's right.
And but I think just good to see a reaction, a positive reaction.
Sure.
That's what we want. That's all we can ask for. Let's hope that we keep seeing those performances. And as always, Luis, right? Vamos Orlando.
Vamos Orlando, guys. Have a wonderful day.